Welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, April 23rd. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. A sad day. That's how shocked residents at Fair Pilgrim Christchurch described the brutal killing of 39-year-old Zanaba Moore. According to police public relations officer, Acting Inspector Rodney Innes, police at Boarded Hall Police Station were notified of the incident by a male caller. The caller reported that there was an altercation between a male and a female, and the woman was stabbed. The man subsequently fled the scene. Residents who declined to go on camera described Moore as a quiet and pleasant person. They insist there was no need for the senseless killing. Innes says investigations.
We have immediately started on a natural death investigation, and we are appealing to members of the public who might have heard or seen anything to kindly let us know. You can reach Border Hall Police Station at 437-4311. The Crime Stoppers 1-800 tips. Police emergency at 211. We are at a sensitive stage of our investigation, and we'll update the press and media alike as more information comes through.
In other news this Tuesday, a caution that terrorism remains a threat to Barbados. Today, Attorney General Dale Marshall warned that Barbados was not immune to the problem as he tabled the Money Laundering and Financing of Terrorism Prevention Legislation Amendment Bill in Parliament, pointing to the deadly bombings in Sri Lanka over the Easter weekend, which has so far resulted in the deaths of over 300 people and injury to more than 500. Marshall stressed that terrorism was real, but authorities were doing all in their power to protect the island from the problem.
So far as I know, there were no Barbadians there, but it is only happenstance that determines where you are at any given point or place in time. And a Barbadian or Trinidadian or Jamaican could just as well have been in one of those countries, perhaps on a diplomatic mission, perhaps because of cricket, perhaps, sir, because of the Commonwealth. I think just a few years ago, a Commonwealth conference, I believe, was scheduled for Sri Lanka. Sir, terrorism is alive, and one hates to say alive and well, but I think if I use that term, you would understand what we mean. But I have to caution the Barbadian listener that the tentacles of terrorism, though they may not have seen expression in Barbados, we guard every single day against the possibility of it happening here.
In her contribution to the debate, Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sandra Husbands, raised concern that the island was under much pressure to meet the demands of the international bodies on trade and tax compliance issues. According to Husbands, the country could soon face possible action from the World Trade Organization for failing to comply to rules or for submitting a report after the deadline.
One of the things now that we're going to have to battle in the international arena is that they are seeking to discuss whether or not they should put consequences on countries that take too long to comply, or countries who do not report within the time that they're supposed to report. Now, already we are at a disadvantage in having limited resources, limited numbers of people, when we're trying to put in place things that cost the country a lot in order to put them in position. But on top of that, because you take long, they are now discussing the fact that they want to be able to put consequences on countries, and this is something that we have to fight at the WTO.
Meanwhile, MP for St. Michael West Central, Ian Goodin-Edgell, wants the government to take action to rein in what he calls aggressive bank fees. In recent years, commercial banks in Barbados have announced new or increased fees for over-the-counter transactions, monthly charges and the cashing of checks without an account with the corresponding bank. Speaking in the House today, Goodin Edgel said while he understands that banks were in the business of making money, they were already making a lot of profit off the savings of residents, and he suggested that charges were questionable.
I believe that the time has come where we have now to start looking at this matter through meetings or however, whatever means or avenues we have to look at. But we have to start looking at these things because these fees are confusing constituents, Mr. Speaker. These views, and I'm sure it's not only in my constituency, sir, but beyond my constituency, but these fees are confusing people and are causing people a lot of stress.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now. In Jamaica, residents in downtown Kingston are welcoming government's plans to construct a new police headquarters accommodating over 2,500 cops on 40 acres of land known as No Man's Land. The spot is surrounded by inner city communities Trenchtown, Arnett Gardens, Hannahtown and Denham Town, and residents say it's a positive move, but they contend the area needs much more. We get more in this report from Television Jamaica.
No Man's Land, partially indicative of its name, now a refuge for garbage and overgrown vegetation, for history, tribal war in West Kingston. But it's law and order that will rise from the ashes, a new headquarters for the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
It's a good decision. It should have been done a long time ago. Try to help reduce the crime in the area, and people feel more comfortable. I want to know the policemen do their job that are more respectful to the people of the community. Despite where the people live, is them home. I must treat them like human beings.
I think it is a good thing because we need more security in this place because you don't know when anything can occur, you understand?
Security is important. No Man's Land in West Kingston is near communities such as Rima, Trenchtown, Golden Heights, Denham Town and Jonestown. The security forces are in Hawkeye mode, with Denham Town being a zone of special operations. For some, the new police headquarters should bring other goodies.
A lot of young people would probably look up in terms of the police and them there. And then police, sometimes people say police bad and police this and that. But sometimes probably them would have come on the ear and talk to the youth them and teach them like a thing and give them like a job. Because a lot of educated youth and children in the era will need a job.
And on the international scene, the Islamic State group may be linked to bomb blasts which killed 321 people and wounded 500 more in Sri Lanka. Word of this from the country's Prime Minister, who says the government believes that Sunday's attacks could not have been carried out without help from terror groups abroad. ISIS also claimed today that it was behind the attack. Police have now detained 40 suspects in connection with the attack, all of whom were Sri Lankan nationals. A state of emergency remains in effect to prevent further attacks. And the first mass funeral was held today as Sri Lanka marked an official day of mourning for the victims. And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.